if I say something, I'm going to back it up with proof. So I'm going to show you exactly why and how an idea that I had years ago was never about the idea and the destination, what I think it was meant to be, but more about how it actually helped me grow as a person. Now, what you can see right here is a book. This is the very first book that I wrote back in 2020. Now, this was at a time when my life was in turmoil and I started learning about how to become a better person. And at the time, I thought that manifesting money was going to solve all my problems. So I went down this big rabbit hole. I came from the corporate logic structure, working in an office type environment for all my life. So understanding all these new tools, ideas, topics, opinions, etc. was brand new for me. So I learned all about manifesting money. And I'm going to show you, this is the book that I created based on everything that I learned. So if you can actually see in here, so these were some of the tools that I learned about manifesting money way back in the day. And part of that process of learning things is like, okay, well, now I need to share these with other people. Because I've learned these things, that means other people need to learn them. So what I did was I created, I thought it was really cool at the time, where I actually taught the actual topic in like a condensed way, talking about money mindset, how the brain works, using your energy, etc. But then linked with that, I added a daily journal, because that was also something that was part of my practice. And so for 21 days, I created these daily planners where we would work on things like, sorry, it's a bit blurry, our emotions and morning and afternoon and all these things, and doing all these money tools, etc. But I don't know if you noticed, on that front cover, it doesn't have my name. It doesn't have my name on the back either, because at the time, I was still not in that space where I was confident in anything that I was teaching or learning, or was able to express confidently, like to a camera or like to social media, or in a way like this, because that's not where I was at in that moment. So I created that book and I put it onto Amazon, but I didn't tell anyone about it. I didn't advertise it. I didn't promote it. I just put it onto KDP on Amazon and went, yep, that's just going to sell because I'm going to manifest that. Then when we fast forward a few years, because I can tell you in that book, and hang on, I'm going to show you something. I mean, this is how I actually spelt coherence for so long. Anyway, the book is full of spelling errors, but this was my first book, so it was something to be proud of. Okay, so now we're going to fast forward a year. And so I got a little bit more confident and I put my name on top. This was probably around the same time as my fourth different brand that I had created. Now, the book is pretty much the same, but I did format it a bit better, fixed up some of the spelling, some of the spacing, some of the wording, some of the actual process and stuff in there didn't really change too much. But see, I had changed. I had changed a lot when I was creating that, because that was a time when I had moved past that just manifesting money and was now, okay, well, I've learned all these spiritual things. Now I'm going to make money. Now I'm going to build a brand and build this whole ecosystem of the things that I've learned. And I'm going to now help the whole world in doing the same thing. Then after that, and with my pending jail sentence that was coming, my husband also passing away, I went through an even deeper stage of understanding and learning myself. So whilst those first two books really sort of created the version of me that could be put into a place of expression where I was able to use an idea that came to my head and create these books that I knew would have been something that helped me when I was back in the beginning of that stage, because that's what the purpose was. But through my actual life experience and how I was feeling and moving through these heavy situations of my life, and that's another whole conversation. But then the book was rewritten again. So then the book became, it's actually like a lot bigger. I did change the font. I think, yes. So we changed the font. We gave it a bit more of a style. We create, like I even did the binary numbers for the titles. So it was still essentially the same book, but it had a totally different feel because there's a whole story about it. But after the first anniversary of my husband's passing away, there was a whole new version of myself that came out of that. And that's when we went from the light and we went into the dark. And so we discovered this whole new different way of being and understanding myself a lot more, that the book became a lot more in depth. It became a lot more grounded in the sovereignty of our being. And so that was the way that I wanted the book to represent. It was more of a grounding way, where the other way was sort of more light and yes, let's all do this wonderful thing, where this is like, okay, we're in it, we're doing it, this is what we're doing. And the whole story of being able to manifest money came from the understanding of our deep dark desires, the truth of who we are that is buried within the depths of ourselves. Then after creating that book, which I felt was my best version ever, and that's when I actually started to get sales. It was on Kindle and people were buying it. Then I was sentenced and, had this hiccup of having to go to jail for 20 months. But when I came out, then we did, yep, you guessed it, another version. And this is where it totally changed. As you can see, there is no more journaling, there's no more writing, there's no more fluff. This is where it truly became something that was just about our full coherence. So it's written in a way, in short sentences, small letters, so that it's very much about understanding exactly different thoughts and ideas in a coherent way, where we just look at a thought or an idea in a way that we're not doing these actions, we're not learning these tools, we're not we're not practicing these different elements of things that we think we're supposed to do. Instead, it's okay, like for instance, let's look at day 5, inherited beliefs. All right, today's noticing about which money beliefs you did not choose. So the whole book is now a 21-day protocol. So now it's just about you looking at your thoughts. It's no longer about judgment. It's no longer about wishing or wanting or doing anything. It's just about the sovereignty of who we are. Now, because this book, this first idea, all the way over here, the whole idea was to create a trilogy. So the things that we want the most is money, we want to look good and feel good, and we want love. So I actually ended up creating 3 of them, and they are all exactly the same. They're 21-day protocols, and they are all based on their original topics. And it's just about looking at those thoughts that we are holding towards that. And you can see with these, it's not just about these books. Now, yes, I'm happy that these are being completed. That is something that was because it was an idea and something that has taken, nearly 6 years for me to do. But the growth from that first book to these last 3 is ridiculous. Like, the person who I was when I wrote that book is not the person who has written these last 3. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about when we have these ideas. It's not about, I'm going to create this first book and I'm going to become a millionaire and everyone's going to want it. Because the thing is, the whole idea that you were chasing is about your growth. What happens when you wrote that? You grow from that. You grow into a different person. So you can't promote that anymore. Then it becomes something else. Then it becomes another book, because you are constantly growing and constantly changing. And that's what it's about. And now these books, because I know that they're final, because there's no other place that they can go. They are exactly where they needed to be. And that journey from that first book to these end books worked out exactly how it was supposed to. So go follow those ideas.